Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the BB-Scho. As always, I'm your host, Beebs. I'm here with my co-host, Chen. It's Sunday. We're here to react to week 11. Week 11. How you doing today, man?
Doing all right. It was weird not having to, stress or have anything going on with the Packers. Just kind of got to watch some different games today and truly just enjoy football. A lot of surprises, that's for
Yeah,
sure. I mean, we're gonna get into it, but
yeah. We can
yeah.
kick it off. I'll just, you mentioned the Packers. We'll rewind to Thursday night really quick. When it comes to stressing about the Packers, I've been here for a couple weeks. Um, I had a little bit of a resurgence of hope, but ultimately ended up back where I firmly stood for a couple weeks there. The season was over a long time ago. I'm wondering if you've reached that point.
Um, I mean, for my own sanity, like I have to just hope, like they're mathematically it's still there. The Vikings, the way it happened today. I mean, who knows? Maybe it was a
I think
mid-season
I'll say
meltdown.
this. I've gotten to the point where I'm thinking about losing more games to get a higher draft pick. That's how
Well,
far
I
down.
prefer, yeah, I mean, if that's the route we're gonna go, yeah, I prefer that. Like, it's if we see Jordan Love start, that's just gonna what it's gonna tell
I
me. But
actually also am at the point where my NFL futures bet he's at 7 interceptions on the year, and if they bench him, I will be very very happy because he'll push, and that would be
oh,
good.
really?
That would be very good. Yes.
Huh.
Um, but then I think the bet's kind of it's off topic, but the bet's kind of doomed anyways because I don't think Brandon Cooks is going to reach his 1,000 yards. So
Yeah, yeah. Tragic.
yeah. But outside of that, I mean, Derrick Henry kind of had his field day, did his thing, 28 carries. I guess he only had 87 yards. And now looking at the box score,
It was just the consistent. It was like,
yeah, it was a consistent 3 yards a
you
pop. But the difference in this game, looking at it, Ryan Tannehill, masterclass performance, 22 of 27, 333 yards. And then kind of the emergence, I did say this, Traylon Burks, finally healthy,
yeah,
started the year on IR, started the year a little slow, then went on IR for turf toe, I think. So,
figures.
but yeah, he's one of the more explosive rookie wide receivers of this class who hasn't gotten a lot of time on the field. Sucks as a Packers fan, but it was good to see him, have his best game yet as a career. I am a proud dynasty fantasy owner of Traylon Burks, so I might be a little biased when it comes to that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
fair enough. I mean, it really just comes down to if he does develop into that solid threat. Because then I think Titans, I mean, yeah, they beat us, which for most
whoop de
unbiased
doo.
people, like, yeah, they expected that. But they have like their three losses this year were all against good teams. I believe it was the Giants in week one, the Chiefs are in there,
Well,
and
yeah,
somebody
I had
else. But
forgotten, and maybe this will serve as a reminder for some people. The Titans were 0-2.
yeah, yeah.
Bless you,
And now
bless
they
you.
are sitting at like they're sitting at 7-3, which for
Yeah,
a
with an
team
with an
that
overtime loss to the Chiefs
yeah, and a team
with
that
Malik
hasn't even
Willis.
had right. Tannehill hasn't even been there. There's no really stability. There's been injuries on the other side of the ball. The fact they're just this good of a team, I really think it's all down to coaching. I mean, you saw the different ways they utilized Derrick Henry. That jump pass, I feel like it works all the time. But the way they run it, like the fact Derrick Henry can get right up to the line, like it looked like a run all the way. Normally, a guy will just get it, go like a couple steps, and throw. Derrick
Mhm.
Henry sold that. Like he probably could have scored either way. But the point being is they just are so creative with their play calling. If they're getting another guy unlocked like Traylon Burks, that's going to be a problem because this team hasn't needed to throw the ball all year and they're still 7-3.
Yeah.
Tannehill is capable. I think part of it is, our defense isn't going to get to the pass rush. Like losing Rashawn Gary is a huge deal. Our pass rush just went from like pretty good to bottom of the
I mean,
barrel,
let's
in
just
my
say it like this.
opinion.
I mean, I've already made it very clear that I want the Packers to get a higher draft pick. I mean, the Packers season,
Yeah.
if it's not mathematically over, it's over. And honestly, and this will, as we go on, especially if they keep losing, I'll cease to keep talking. But I'll say this: like, it's not just because Devontae Adams left. Well, that's definitely a part of it. There's a number of other things here, and you can point to people ask the question, who needs to go, right? You have a season like this, you're supposed to be so good, and then you fall so far short of expectations. I think it's not LaFleur or Rodgers. I think it's I can't pronounce his name, Gunkiss, the GM.
I mean, that's an argument to
Um,
make.
and I'll make the argument that this you can tie this all back to the Jordan Love draft pick. So yeah, yes, you pissed him off, got 2 years of MVP performances, but now we got nothing out of that, and that could have
Well,
been
that was a
something.
wasted pick. They ran too deep. Like Devontae Wyatt barely has played, I feel like, this year. When he does, the impact has been crazy. And then you go and draft Quay Walker, who, as much of a physical specimen he should be, the signs were kind of already there. He's looking at film. Like he played on Georgia, like the greatest college defense of
Yeah,
all time, at least up there at the everybody on that, his entire front seven went pro with him. So to see him just struggling to make plays when he's our standalone middle linebacker when Devondre Campbell's not there,
yeah,
that's doesn't surprise me. And
yeah.
I know they're not going to put McDuffie over him because of Quay Walker's status, but like he clearly got exposed multiple times where he'll take one or two, three steps in the wrong direction before realizing, like happened on the first drive with Dontrell Hilliard. There's many other examples, not only this
Yeah.
game, but this year. Like, I just don't like the way he's drafted. And people are giving some praise for the AJ Dillon pick. But I'm sorry,
No,
like,
he's been
especially looking at
terrible
this year,
this
who
year.
cares?
He's
Yeah,
been
like, who
terrible this year.
cares? And
And,
so when you're whiffing on all these picks and then you
yeah,
look
and
up
if it weren't for
Seattle,
the
who,
last 2 weeks, Christian
mm,
Watson would have been a massive whiff. He'd have been 0
yeah,
for 3 off the Devontae Adams
right.
trade. 0 for 3. And you can say what you want about Watson's emergence, but I
Mm.
mean, he's clearly a threat. Like, we're not sitting, I mean, he leads
Yeah,
rookies in
that
touchdowns
should
now.
work.
So, but yeah,
When that's your only solid pick, though, and like you have two first rounders and it kind of looks like you missed on both of them already. Like, come
yeah.
on, man. And
I,
I just,
I think, but it goes deeper than that. When I was going to make my point, this was going to be my closing statement. Yes, I think that if somebody has to go, it should be him and not LaFleur or Rodgers. But I think the greater issue here is just like overconfidence in the locker room. I mean, you heard it from a number of guys after they lost to the Jets, after they lost to the Giants. They were like, "Oh, we're fine. We're fine. We lost to the Vikings. We'll get the Jets next week, and then we'll beat the Commanders, and then we got an easy schedule. We'll be good." And now you find yourself, you were 3-1, now you're 4-7, and you got the
yeah,
Eagles next week. So, and we could talk about that. Like, I think the Eagles are a beatable team, but this is just a home loss to the Titans, right? And say what you want about the Titans being good, you could have lost this game if you'd beat the Commanders. You could have lost this game if you'd beat the Jets, right? Or if you just snuck that
yeah,
game out in London, and it's just like, now you can't afford to do this and put yourself against the wall because you were so cocky. I think it was Jair Alexander who said that week 4 or 5. They were like, we're good. We'll wake up. And it was like, you're not waking up, dude. Like, you're just bad. You guys are playing bad. If you're an NFL team and your mindset is, we'll figure it out, we'll figure it out later. That's you see what I mean. You see the answer on the field, right? You can't expect results like that. So,
yeah.
you know, talking about, and here's another thing I did want to talk about today. Did you see the Derek Carr rumors?
What was that? That they're gonna cut him
Yeah,
after this year?
yeah.
I
Do you
mean,
have?
it's a very real idea.
So my
He
my
hasn't.
question then is, what happens with Devontae?
Well, if he doesn't like Stroud or Bryce Young, I mean, that's the direction they're going at this point. They're gonna be right behind the Texans.
I mean, did
Um,
Devontae Adams? I can't even think of a worse. Maybe Le'Veon Bell, like, but that's a running back,
well, the
like just
Le'Veon
a
Bell situation,
complete.
I mean, he makes less money, and Le'Veon Bell just kind of fell off talent wise.
Yeah,
It's
like,
more of like the like, but I do see similarities of like the Jets crashing and burning
yeah,
when
just
he
like a
was there,
complete
having Adam
self-destruct.
Gase.
Well, I'm not even saying Devontae Adams is the reason for the Raiders' lack of success.
No, it's basically everything around him's crumbling. Like even having
Yeah,
Josh
and so I'm
Jacobs
just saying,
run the
like, a
ball, it's
complete
like,
self-destruction to your own career. And we're running on a hypothetical here. If they cut Carr, which was the entire reason he wanted to go there, was to play with his college quarterback. Um,
yeah,
You know,
It's odd.
I don't know if it gets much worse than, you know, oh, I don't want to play for Rodgers anymore. We just went to back to back, or I guess they didn't make the NFC Championship. We just won, you know, 13 games 3 years in a row. I don't want to be here anymore. I get the most catches. I'd be the most highest paid receiver, but I want to play for Derek Carr. He's my buddy. And then after 1 year of winning 3 games, um, he's gone, and you're stuck in Oakland of all, well, I guess Vegas, but you're stuck here in a just a dysfunctional franchise historically. And yeah, that would
Well,
be
there my just stat of the day, and we'll do a quick exercise. Who do you think has had a 3 touchdown game the most recent? All right, 3 passing touchdowns or more.
passing touchdowns.
Mitchell Trub. Yep, in a game more recently. Mitchell Trubisky or Derek Carr.
Probably Trubisky. I think he had one this year, and I don't think Carr has one this year.
Derek Carr, Mike White.
No way. It's been that long.
And my final, oh, you think that's long? Derek Carr, Drew Brees.
No way.
It has been, I believe, a 2 or 3. No,
so
four,
okay, here's
four,
the
in these
here's
4-year stretch.
that's an interesting stat though, because like that's gotta apply. There's gotta be other anomalies like that where it's like, you know, right? How far does like Ryan Tannehill? No, it's like it's a very interesting stat. Like how far does like a guy like Ryan Tannehill go back without throwing 3 touchdowns? Right? Like the Raiders.
I mean, probably not that far.
The Raiders have had success with Derek Carr as recent as last year, right? They won 11
for
games.
sure.
So it's like, you know, it's very interesting as a passer to look at that. But I mean, there's got to be like, how far does like a guy like Daniel Jones go back before he threw 3? I mean, has he ever thrown 3 touchdowns? And it's like he's a competent starter at this point in his career. Like he's started. So
I think without Saquon, the Daniel Jones might be looking for a different job next year, though.
I don't know, man.
Kind of
he was pretty good today, and Saquon wasn't.
Yeah, but even then they lost to the Lions today.
I think that
I understand
the way things are shaking out, and you'll agree with this. There's no way that the Giants move on from Daniel Jones next year because 1, they're going to be in the playoffs, and he's had the best year of his career. 2, how are they going to get anybody to move on? Like to move on?
Yeah, unless they want to.
They're going to be in the playoffs. They're not going to have a high draft pick or anything like that. So
they'd have to make a run at Brady, which you would never do. They would have to potentially Jimmy G if you think that's a major upgrade.
I don't.
Derek Carr, it also is really just dependent on like the views of people around the NFL because I know a lot of people are really high on Derek Carr and still think like he's a really good quarterback.
I think he's a top 15 quarterback. Yeah, I mean he's.
And I'm saying there's people that probably think like top 10. I mean that might be more Raiders buyers fans, but
no, I put him in the Kirk Cousins tier.
Yeah, that's fair. But even then, I feel like this year it's like Kirk Cousins seems far and away better. And you could attribute
that's
that to
this year, but if you
a better offense,
rewind it to last year, I mean, that's why it's the Kirk Cousins tier. It's like this.
It's kind of Tannehill's in there. Yeah, it's you never really know, but I don't think he should be as glorified as some people prop up to. He's right in that like middle, if there's and think about what is around him and there's
but like you guys,
I'm not saying it's his fault.
You've heard me talk high about Carson Wentz and that he's the best B tier starter. I would put I would take Derek Carr before Carson Wentz.
I would assume, but even then, I don't.
Carson Wentz just got benched for Taylor Heinicke.
But Heinicke's been good, and his team's 6-5. Like
that's
I'm just
fair,
saying,
but I think we can.
If you put Wentz in there, like. I think Heinicke's probably had a 3-touchdown game.
I think that you're taking some of the Josh McDaniels fault and putting it on Carr as well, and I think that that's unnecessary because we saw Carr without Josh McDaniels and the best receiver in football, not even 12 months ago, win 11 games and go to the playoffs with an interim head coach.
No, that's a fair take. It is, but we'll see how the rest of the year plays out.
If
they don't get rid of McDaniels.
It's becoming more apparent that that's where they're at. Is they would rather keep McDaniels and move on from Carr, which is just, I mean, mind-boggling.
It was. Is he going to go? McDaniels going to go and bring in Tebow again?
Yeah, is that what? I mean, you know where Carr is going to end up, right? The biggest QB carousel in the league. He's going to Indianapolis.
Oh boy. And even then they'd probably just find a way to just
Oh, and they'll
do
find a way to
worse
win 8 to 9 games and barely miss the playoffs because that's what they're going to do
every
this
single
year.
yeah.
It's but
Go figure.
I don't know how we got here from Thursday Night Football, but
Yeah, it's
I do
okay.
want to move on to
We can get into the games today.
yeah,
Yeah.
get into the games from today. And let's kick it off. We had a classic Chicago 3-point loss to the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if Fields is for sure hurt. I know he was being looked at in the tent. I don't know if he came back or not. I don't know
He
what
kept
happened.
really grabbing at that shoulder, but it's his left one. So I
Um,
think that just kind of gives him discomfort as a runner. Shouldn't
yeah,
necessarily hold him out. It's like a
yeah.
broken collarbone
I,
or something really bad.
it's just becoming so clear, and I don't know why this is so tied to the Roquan Smith trade, where Justin Fields just decided to flip a switch. But it seems like ever since they made that move, they've lost every game by like 3 points, and maybe it is every game by 3 points. And it's like, man,
It's
if they
close.
could just not give up 27 points to the Falcons and stop the run,
Yeah.
they would have won today. Oh man, if they could have stopped the Lions offense, maybe if they had the best linebacker in the league, they would have won today. Oh man, if they could slow down Tua just even a little bit more, they were right there. This is the best offense in the league. All they needed to do was just give up less than 35 points. They would have won today.
Right.
And it's becoming a common theme. And for a franchise that's historically known for their defense being better than their offense, it's very interesting to see the change of pace. Number one, and number two, it's becoming comical um, because how much more can Justin Fields do? I understand that maybe today wasn't his best performance of the year, but he still ran for 85 yards and a touchdown. He had 7 incompletions. He did throw an interception, but he also threw a touchdown. And they
Yeah.
scored 24 points in Atlanta. And I know I picked Atlanta, but it's just like they found a way to lose by 3 points. And it's just like, I, I
It's
don't.
there's not a
I mean, they
whole
want to be
lot
losing.
more they can
Maybe they're
do.
doing this on purpose to give Fields confidence, and they want to be losing games at this point to move up in the draft. It's like we were talking about with the Packers, and it's like
Right.
they're just making it look good, right? Maybe that's what it is, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, bottom line is I feel like they're gonna get one of these. It's the reason I picked them was going in. I'm like, they really gonna lose, which they did, by a couple points. But when you're like on the edge and the way Fields has been playing, I understand it's not perfect as a passer, but it's pretty good given what he has in front of him, right? Like
Yeah,
you just traded for Claypool and he's kind of battling is like not even really you want him to be your number two, but he hasn't really been that. And I don't know. There's just not a whole lot of consistency in the pass game. So for him to be kind of somewhat efficient today, do what he does running the ball. I mean, you look at Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, that's always valuable. And he's not bad at throwing it. Like, this is not a Tebow Kaepernick like situation where
yeah,
they're wildly inaccurate with the football and, you know, you get in like 2 minute drills and you can't use them. That's not true. Like,
yeah.
they're able to throw the ball to very subpar pass catchers, in my opinion. But overall, they'll get one. I'm glad they're not. It's funny, but
Atlanta.
I just don't think.
I
I
keep.
hope we get in front of them for a pick.
Well, yeah. There's that.
That's the danger.
Um, Atlanta, and I want to say this. I keep getting to the point with Atlanta where it's like I really want to write them off, right? I just do what I did with the Saints. Sorry.
And here we are.
Can you hear me?
Oh man, yeah, no worries, man.
Yeah,
We're all good.
my mic came unplugged. So I was saying with Atlanta, I really want to get to the point where I can just write them off. Like I really want to get to that point where I can just kind of like I did with New Orleans, just be like, yeah, their season's over, right? But then they have this really easy schedule where it's like, oh man, well I think they can beat the Bears. Let me pick them, and now they're 5-6, and it's like they went on
Yeah,
this losing streak, and all of a sudden they're 5-6 in an NFC where everything's wide open. So I don't really have much to say with Atlanta. It's just going to come down to the wire with their playoff hopes. But the fact that they're even here is a testament to Arthur Smith. So those are my
yeah.
closing thoughts with
No, they're
Atlanta.
staying alive. They are, and I will just. They might get that wild card spot. They might win the division. I mean, who knows at this point? That's how
Yeah.
wide open not only the division but the NFC as a whole. Um, Another noon game that just really caught my mind because I was close with that Jets Patriots game. I was
Oh, what a
close.
dumpster fire that was. Oh my gosh.
Really bad to watch how the Jets were. Yeah, we know all year the defense like is
Belichick,
really good.
Belichick, man, he owns the Jets. This is the
I
I've
just think Zach Wilson is very bad at football.
oh,
Like if they had pretty much
it's
any
so
other,
clear. Dude,
I
he was
really think
9
Joe
of
Flacco.
22 today.
Right, and I'm sorry, but you really think Joe Flacco would do a better job? Like
Here's the problem with the Joe Flacco stuff is when
they're
he was
not gonna
playing
do it.
earlier, I'm convinced that he was audibling to like a pass every play because he wanted to. Because they went from
And it
throwing the ball
worked.
50 times a game. Did it work? Because their best
They were
football was
3-1.
Wilson. Yeah, but I still think their best football was when Wilson came back and they committed to Brees Hall and Michael Carter 35 times a game. And now they're stuck in this limbo where it's like Brees Hall's hurt. We traded for James Robinson. He still seems
Carter
to
and
be
Robinson, it's not the same.
it's
Yeah.
not the same, and Robinson seems to be getting accustomed to the offense, week by week at this point. And Wilson is just not there to help out. But yeah, I still ask the question: is Wilson really a better option than Sam Darnold was? And I just
No.
emphatically say no. I don't know why they moved on from him. Like it was, it
There's really
wasn't.
no need.
It's
I mean,
he was not as bad as Wilson is now, where it's like blatantly apparent that they need to draft another quarterback because he's a bust. And it's like you put yourself in this hole. What could they have done with that second overall pick? If they just, like look at the way they hit
probably another
last year.
piece.
Yeah,
It could have been a piece
look
to
at
the
the way they
defense.
hit
Something.
last year. They hit on Elijah Moore a couple years back. Did they hit on Garrett Wilson this year? They hit on Brees Hall, Quentin Williams. So it's like, man, they're drafting well. They're on a hot streak. What could they have done if they didn't draft Zach Wilson? But
Yeah. Those things happen. Good for Belichick, still extending the streak. I still think the Jets are a good team and will stay alive. It's just they need Joe Flacco for that playoff run, man.
yeah, but
It really like I'm hoping Zach Wilson just eats like two more bad games and then they're like, screw it. Like even if Flacco plays poorly, at least he
I
can.
don't think
He was missing some bad throws today, and there was not like a weather reason. Like it was just he can't make plays on the NFL level. It's bad.
I agree. Well, he's 9 of 22. That's terrible.
Well, and it's just he's overthrowing guys on like swing routes and like the easy stuff he can't complete.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what this he's gonna be able to do.
I
don't see it.
if they lose 2 more games and they bench Zach Wilson, I think their season's done. They're 6-4, and I don't think they have those games to lose in their division. That's the reality of this. Is now they're below the Patriots in the playoff race, and they're going to be stuck there. I'm pretty sure it's the first time they've played. No, it's not.
No, it was second. No. Patriots won earlier this year too.
So they're going to be stuck there.
Zach Wilson looked bad again.
So
it's a common theme.
They're going to have to pull off a miracle to sneak in, but they're definitely. I'm not writing them off, but they're more written off than the Falcons. Does that make sense? Just the way things shake out in the AFC. And
that's how you want to look at it. I think they're firmly in contention for a wild card spot.
I think, well, yes.
I don't think there's going to be a wild card team out of the South. What it looks like, even the West, I mean, maybe the Chargers. Like, you're really only the competition is the North. And that's going to be either the Ravens and the Bengals. Like, there's a real shot the Jets are going to get in.
Yeah, but at that point, I'm just going to say this. I don't see 4 teams from the AFC East making the playoffs. And that's where I'm saying they're first out.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
But yeah, let's move on to another game from this window that caught my eye. Those dang Colts, man, they almost, and what this
I did call earlier this season. We can roll it back. I said that Frank Reich was on the hot seat. Now I didn't know he was in the fire, but
I'll give you that credit. I was like,
Frank Reich. Yeah, and here we are. Jeff Saturday, aka Jeff Sunday, Might be the best coach of all time
Yeah,
so far.
missed field goal is really the difference here. Somewhat of a choke
Mhm.
job in the fourth. I point more just towards the one field goal being the difference. That's
Yeah, they played good today. They
they
did.
played good.
And
Jonathan
I think Jonathan
Taylor.
Taylor needs to play better though. He has these fumbles here and there, and even like if you're just having one every couple games as a running back, that's not good. Like that is costing your team. That swings the momentum and
Mhm.
just kind of makes you skittish as a running back as well the rest of the game. I think he had like again, I'm glad I didn't pick him for fantasy because
Oh
even if
wow,
he had a decent day, but it was like 13 points for the day.
I believe it was 16. He did score a touchdown and a couple of receptions. So
Yeah, just depending on how much takeaway from the fumble, I guess. Either way, um,
according to ESPN, it was 16, and that's what we use for fantasy frenzy. So
okay, yeah, I mean it would have been better than Joe Mixon, but regardless,
well, speaking of
hey,
Joe Mixon,
Colts.
I don't know what happened, but the Bengals are up 37-23 now. So I
Yeah,
don't know. A
they
lot.
they
When we started the podcast, that was like 23-27. So
Joe
I don't
Burrow's
know.
going. He's going crazy, dumping it off to P Ryan and Tyler Irvin. I mean, it's.
Oh, I forgot
I
Mixon is
guess
out.
everybody else is taking over besides
Actually,
Mixon,
you know
which
what?
is lovely.
I have a game riding on T. Higgins being a beast, and he kind of was being a
Oh boy.
beast. Let me see if he kept it up. Yeah, he hasn't got another reception, so I love that for me. Um,
Oh boy.
I can't
Yeah, there's a lot
complain.
of running
Nine. He
backs.
right now he's at 9 for 148, so I can't really complain. I have more to complain about with
That's solid.
Saquon in that league. But
Oof.
back to the Colts and the Eagles here. I'm just gonna say this: they're 4-6-1. I don't think their season's over.
Yeah,
I
just
think
because they're a division.
it's gonna
If they were
it's
banking
gonna
on a
be.
wild card spot, they weren't going to get it.
Well, I don't think
But
they're gonna.
even
I don't
Tennessee
think
is seven
no.
three.
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
they might be screwed.
That's what I'm saying is they're gonna have to get to at the very least 9-6-1. Or is that how that works? How many games are
Not
left?
it would have to be like
It'd be nine
nine
seven and
seven
one,
and one.
nine
And
seven and
even
one,
then,
and
I would
I
probably
think that
prefer 10-6 and
tie
one.
I would as well, but that tie could be. That's what I'm saying. If they can get to 9 wins, 10 wins, they'd have to. Basically, they can only afford to lose one more game. But if
They
they're going to run
basically
with
have
the
to win
Eagles,
out. That's
if they're going to run with the Eagles, you know, say what you want about the Eagles' rushing defense and why I think they're not going to the Super Bowl. I'm jumping on the bandwagon there when it comes to that, and I was very high on the Eagles, but now I don't know what the frick's going on in the NFC, and we'll get to that later. But
yeah, it's
um,
kind of a mess
I
at the
mean,
moment.
anybody could come out of the NFC, but I guess the Colts season. The reason I feel like it's not over is because I think not. Well, they definitely play the Texans again, and I'd have to
It's
look
free
at
win.
you know
I don't think it's realistic. They'd have to show that they're not an inconsistent team
their
is
schedule
essentially what
right
needs to
now
happen.
goes. They play the Steelers next week on Monday night. I think that they can win that
That
game,
helps.
but the Steelers do have the recipe to beat them. So
Hmm.
I, I'm starting to gain a lot of traction with the Steelers. Although they did just, I thought they were going to win
They
today
did
and
just
didn't.
fumble the bag. Yeah.
The Colts, they go Steelers, Cowboys, Vikings, Chargers, Giants, Texans. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Although
That's
the thing with all these NFC teams is like every one of them lost today or last week because the Cow like they've lost to a much inferior team. So it's
yeah.
gonna take a miracle for the Colts, but yeah,
They're in the same boat as like the Packers right now.
yeah, I am
Win out,
concerned. I
anything can
am concerned
happen.
about the Eagles, though. I really am. I'm
There's concerns, but being a team that's sitting on 9-1, like they're not going to look
Oh, I
amazing
mean,
in
they're
every
going to be
game.
fine, but
If they start dropping games and like if it's a pattern, that's when I start to question it.
well,
I'm not ready
they
to.
should have lost today, but
Right,
yeah,
but that's like if they don't start to get things right next week and then the following, then it's like okay, maybe this is a Steelers situation, but it was just missed a couple drives they didn't usually get. I mean, there wasn't
yeah,
really sloppy play or anything. It was just Colts. I think are surprising a lot of people,
yeah,
but
yeah.
we
We
can
can
move
move
on.
on. Yeah. Whoa, that was nice jinx.
Nah,
Another noon window. We mentioned earlier. Taylor Heineke finally, rightfully so. I think he gets placed as the starter after another win. The commies, man, six
yeah,
and
for sure.
five. You want to talk about people in the race? We talk about the Falcons being in the race at 5-6. Well, Commanders
Oh
are
yeah, no.
better, and
It's every
they're
year
two
we never
games. They're
like
their division is
no one predicts
insane.
them.
Their,
But
their
they make
division is
playoffs
insane.
like once every couple years. No one predicts them to go ever. No one in the beginning of the year is like, "Oh, I think the Commanders are is good." No,
Yeah,
no one
and
ever
whenever
says
and whenever
that.
they do, they're terrible. Because I remember a couple years back, everybody was like, really, it was Antonio. It was last year when Antonio Gibson was coming off a really strong rookie year, and Chase Young was
Yeah,
coming up, and everyone's like, this defense is going to be really good. They're going to be good, and Taylor
and
Heineke.
they
It was
just
the year after Heineke lost to Brady, and yeah, they were terrible. And now Heineke's back to being awesome. So one of my favorite guys
yeah,
to watch play football. So when it comes to the
yeah,
Texans, they're doing what they need to do. That's the bottom line.
yeah.
Would,
Davis
would
Mills
like it
bad
if
day.
they gave it to Damian Pierce a little bit more, but you know they're doing
Yeah,
what they need to do. They're getting their first overall pick. Even more
yeah.
solidified.
Got to secure that first.
Yeah,
Definitely
gotta
gotta
know what we're doing here.
gotta know your priorities. But yeah, solid. Predictable. It's
Yeah.
not a whole lot else I gotta say.
Rams Saints box score. This was kind of predictable.
Yeah,
I don't know if this was an upset. Technically, I don't know what Vegas had, but talk about a
we
three
both
touchdown
took
game. Huh?
Saints, right?
Yeah, Saints was the safe play here. As much as I say their season's over, the Rams they're just a bad team, man. And I will say, I'm just going to keep harping on it because it's one of my best aged takes. Go watch the season preview. I said the Rams are going to make the playoffs. So
Yeah,
said a lot of other things that
that's
have
shaping up.
proven. I've said a lot of other things that have proven to be false, but that one did prove to be correct. So I'm very happy with that. Andy Dalton, after Jameis Winston comes out and complains about losing his job because he got hurt, saying that's not the policy, responds with 21 of 25 for 260, 3 touchdowns. So pretty efficient day for the Red Rocket here. Um,
Yeah,
it was good.
I mean, Jameis Winston also just hasn't shown enough to justify
No, I thought
he's
his
a locked-in
comments.
starter.
I
Like,
thought his comments were stupid. I mean, he had thrown 5 interceptions and 4 touchdowns through however many games he played. That was not why he got benched. It was not because of his back, and you know
right?
it is what it is.
No, it's just not what this team needs, and honestly, not a lot of teams need. It's just an inconsistency at one of the most important positions. Just can't really have it. I understand he's talented, but there's a reason they're going to go with Dalton.
Was it the Rams last week that we talked about the over under on years until they're like relevant again, or like back in the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Or
didn't
was
we put it at like 10 or 12 years? I mean,
was it the Rams? Because I was going to do it again if it was
like
the Rams.
it's
I can't remember who we did that
it's
for,
going to
but
be a
it's
long
bad, man.
time,
I think
long time.
yes or no, McVay retires after this year.
I mean, age like isn't a factor given that he's still under 40. But yeah, if he's just like, well, made my money, I'm where I want to be in life, don't
Won my
want all the
Super
stress
Bowl.
of trying to rebuild a team. Yeah, he could just bow out. I don't know.
I think Donald's going to retire. He should have retired last year. He was so close to doing it too. And
Yeah, and that's again like it kind of sucks because like if those guys if they want to do it, more power to them. But they definitely still like McVay can still coach. Aaron Donald can still play. Like Ndamukong
yeah,
Suh can still get a contract. Aaron Donald, I think realistically still has 5 or 6 years left.
no, I
Maybe
think
not
he
be like
has
peak
it, but I
years.
just think that he doesn't want to play.
Right. Well,
That's
yeah,
the bottom
especially for a
line.
team like that. I don't know what his contract, situation is. That's probably something that if he's locked in there, he's gonna do the old Marshawn Lynch Gronk
Yeah.
thing where he takes a year or so off at least.
Oh, I'm retired.
But
You can't trade me.
yeah, best story ever. I don't blame him. I don't either. If you're getting traded from New England at the time to Detroit,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
no,
retired.
yeah, you make the decision right then and there. So no, that was great story. And hey, you know what? Great for the Saints. Still don't think it affects them too much. I mean, this is you won a game against a beatable team in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say to put it nicely.
Bills are moving on, but the Bills are back in the win column. I honestly am shocked they even made it to this game. Seeing the stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't get a chance to go look at all that, that was.
We got robbed. It was a great game, man.
I don't think there would have been a game, man. The snow was like over the what do they call those? like
Oh, it
the
was like up into the
sections.
seats. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
and then I saw a video of
packed.
this guy like opened his garage door and it was just a wall of
It
snow.
was full snow. Yeah. Oh
And
my
the
gosh.
videos of fans picking up players to get into the airport on snowmobiles because the roads are out. And I actually
Cool
think
that
it's
they
a
made it
miracle that
though.
they even got.
Respect. Yeah.
I don't know. And I did hear. I think they're going back because they play in Detroit on Thursday. They're actually going back
Oh
uh,
wow.
in between. So
And
I
that's another thing. They had less practice time this week as well, and they still came out and did
yeah
their thing. They're probably gonna get less practice time going into this week.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
but they are who we know they are. Like Dennis Green said it best.
yeah, it was
We
good for them to get
know,
back in the win column though
yeah,
after just some
bit of a skid.
shaky
Yeah, bit
performance,
of a little
and
skid
not a
there.
great performance from Josh Allen either. But to get 86 yards out of wow, actually I didn't realize this. They had 86 yards out of Devin Singletary and 86 yards out of James Cook, who did it on 7 less carries. James Cook averaged
Yeah,
7 yards a carry today.
Cook's been getting more and more usage. That's why when I saw the Naheem Hines trade, I was kind of like, all right, very lateral move. I don't think they're even going to really need to use him a whole lot between Singletary and James Cook being their kind of do it all guy.
Yeah,
It is what it is. The Bills ultimately are just going to keep rolling. I think I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like. The only concerns I have is just it's going to be Josh Allen in the playoffs. If we didn't see any problems last year, he's had turnover issues a bit this year. If he does have a bad game like that, I think that's where they could get caught. But
well,
and you
my
know
other
what? I
concern
say that
is
they go into Arrowhead, it gets loud. Like it could be a repeat of last year.
so the Bills'
It really
schedule
could.
because they are going to want to play as many home playoff games as they possibly can. So what's what
Yeah.
well, they got to beat that. So they're gonna have to beat the
Dolphins.
Dolphins. They play the
Dolphins
Dolphins on
popped
December
over them
18th.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to beat the Dolphins. And then they got the Lions, the Patriots. They should win. They're gonna need that Patriots game. They have two Thursday night games back to back. That's kind of crazy, actually. I don't know if I've ever seen that ever. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, they've got wins. They've got wins on that table. They just need to find a way to get a home playoff game and roll. I don't want. They don't want to go to Arrowhead again, but the Browns, we know who they are. I have no comments.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna add really anything until Deshaun Watson comes back, and even then,
Yeah,
we're not gonna know right away. It's gonna be his first games back playing football in a while,
yeah,
so it's really wait and see next year for this team. They just need to keep losing games. Help them for next year. It's a lost season in my book.
yeah. That's a good way to put it. Let's look at the Panthers Ravens box score. How about it? Because this was just an absolute, just a
Yeah,
crapshoot.
typical Baker performance, and Lamar cooling off as of late doesn't bode well for the Ravens in the playoffs. I'm assuming they're going to get there. They're not really showing signs of that being an issue, but they need Lamar Jackson to be on fire. Like we've seen it every year. He's pedestrian, if not poor, in the playoffs. He's got to have a good run. Otherwise, that contract he's seeking, if you're not stepping it up in the playoffs, like it's that they're gonna point to that. Like that is gonna be right in the front of your contract negotiation. And eh, we'll see. I mean, we can play this game all day long if we need more weeks to see how some of these teams are, but that's the reality. Like I'm confident in what the Chiefs can do, the Bills, even like the Bengals. Like I kind of understand what they're doing, but the Ravens are pretty inconsistent on offense. It's just from what I see.
Yeah, I have to agree. One of the more poor looking 7-3 football teams I've seen in a while.
As of
Um,
late, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just looking at the stats, Demarcus Robinson 9 for 128 today. That's just random.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they've got problems, and with Bateman out for the year, or at least on IR, I think they're not going to have them solved. Especially if Andrews is going to continue to be dinged up like he has been the last couple of weeks. I am concerned. I share your sentiment. How about though, to keep moving through the noon window? How about the Lions winning their third in a row against a really good team? Seven and two Giants, 7-3 now. We can say what we want about how fraudulent they've been, but this was they went into New York and beat them handily. They snuck by the Packers, they snuck by the Bears. This was not that. This was different, and really wasn't. I don't really have much to attribute it to. Goff was not excellent. Rushing, they got a three-headed monster, I guess. They got 60 yards from Jackson, 60 yards from Williams, and then a 20 and a touchdown from DeAndre Swift. But really, I'm impressed with the defense showing up out of nowhere, holding the Giants to 18 points, holding Saquon to 22 yards rushing.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the formula. I mean, you force Daniel Jones to basically just get him into a
Yeah, but
passing, and
for the
even
Lions
Daniel
to be
Jones,
to
like,
be executors of that formula is what's surprising to me
no, it is very surprising,
and perhaps concerning.
and another thing is it's not really like the like we're writing off the Eagles kind of lost last. I mean, we're taking it into account, right? Like they lost to the Commanders, they had a close game against Colts today. But the Giants, like we've kind of seen some of these games where they pull it out in close games. They don't always look great doing it. I definitely, like you said, fraudulent could be the perfect word. I mean, they are 7-3. They're not locked into a playoff spot. I'm not saying they're going to miss, but I think initially going into even like this week and the general consensus so far is this team's going to be a high seed in the NFC. And the way things are shaping out, that may not be the case. They definitely got division games remaining, and none of their opponents are easy. Like that division, all of a sudden, the NFC East is very crowded. And I don't know. I think really, you look at the Commanders; they have been playing a lot better as of late than the Giants. And who knows? We could see a little switcheroo there. I don't think
Yeah,
people saw
that's fair.
necessarily
I
the
mean, they're a
Dolphins
game back.
hopping over the Bills. Yeah,
They're a
I
game
mean they're
back.
right there.
Um,
Mm.
to move on, I just looked this up. You saw my jaw drop. The Raiders beat the Broncos in overtime, 22 to
Yeah,
16.
that's
So
that's typical. Because you know why? I mean, the Broncos still to this. I don't have they gotten over 20 points in a game this year.
I don't think so.
That's
I
like the
don't.
magic number. You get a little close to 20 points, Broncos are screwed. They got no shot. There's no way they put together more than like two or three
Oh my
moving the ball
gosh.
drives.
We are, by the way, if you guys go re-listen to the Fantasy Frenzy draft, we are idiots. Devontae Adams 7 for 141, and he scored another touchdown to win the game. So he had 2 touchdowns today.
Well, you know what? I don't care.
We
I
are.
don't care. Those things happen.
He says, "I
I
don't
don't.
care."
Yeah, screw it. You know
This is
what?
why.
Like
This is why I'm confused why the Raiders are 3-7 because Derek Carr
they
throws
should
for
not be.
300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs. This is on one of the best defenses in the league. Josh Jacobs 24 carries for 100 yards, has another 50 receiving, and then Devontae Adams has 140 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. How is this team bad? I actually know the answer. It's their head coach, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's not getting this team to show up every week, and that's where the instant, the
well,
issues with
and
play
how when
calling,
you
and
read all
you
that
see it
yardage,
against the
here's the
Chiefs
true
and
core of
stuff.
the when you read all that yardage, they only have 22 points to show for it.
Yeah,
That's not
execution down
good.
at the goal line,
That's not good,
creativity
man.
is definitely an issue. Yeah, that does not shock me. I mean, hey, it went into overtime. I was right flipping the coin. And that was the Broncos were literally a field goal from keeping that out of overtime. But again, they can't get over 18 points. I mean, if they'd be doing that every week, they would be at this point eight and
Yeah, on
two.
what
But like,
was
come
what
on.
was what was supposed to be and was said by the announcers, Russell Wilson's best throwing day of this season, which was like 240 yards and no touchdowns.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice. Real
it's.
nice.
Did you
For
see
the
the?
$50 million a year man.
Did you see the reports? It was from an inside source, and they said that they can't confirm, but they've heard rumors from inside the Broncos locker room that Russell Wilson is calling Seahawks audibles at the line of scrimmage,
It's
and
confusing
nobody
the
knows
team.
what's going on. Nobody knows what play he's calling.
That would be crazy if it's true. That's like
Dude,
maybe he's had more concussions than we're aware of. But
dude,
wow.
this is so. I've never
Seems
seen.
like,
I
yeah,
can't remember the last time we saw something like this. A quarterback that we touted to be like pretty good go somewhere else and just be horrible,
just fall off a cliff.
fall off the face of the
Like,
planet.
I'm really curious to what he turns in this year for numbers wise. It might be, and again, being what he's paid, we might have a similar to a Carson Wentz situation, but almost nearly worse
No, he's
because of
worse
how
than
many
Carson
years,
Wentz this year.
right? Like the
Worse.
years that are attached to it. You'd make the case this dude is a backup level quarterback, but there's no way he's going to go there because of how much money he's invested in him.
Yeah,
It is a tough day, tough year to be a Broncos fan.
yeah.
Oh man, hate to
I
see it.
it's a tough decade to be a Broncos fan at this point. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, but
Oh,
was there any more
sweet.
in the noon games? I know we
No,
kind of hopped and
we're through the noon games.
yeah, wow, okay. These
Um,
bye weeks, they really
yeah. So
clear
we'll talk
things
about
up.
let's talk about Bengals Steelers. It just concluded. The Steelers did get another touchdown. Najee did score his second touchdown of the day, so it was good to see him have his best game of the year. Uh,
Yeah, Trent Richardson 2.0. We love
hey,
it.
you know what, man? I got burned by Trent Richardson 2.0, so it was good to see him
Yeah. Hey,
hopefully getting a win this
I
week.
got burned by the OG back when I first started playing fantasy football. I thought he was so good. When he was really good for his rookie year when I had him, and I picked him again and worst. Oh man. I wasn't even happy when he got traded to the Colts. I thought the Browns were the problem. Not that he even just couldn't see. I didn't know that was
He's actually legally blind, so
yeah, I was wow, man. But hey, yeah, good
um,
for Najee.
Bengals. I think this was a more important win, 37-30, than people might realize. To get to 6-4 rather than being 5-5 with a division loss to the Steelers is pretty significant. And to score 37 points on a defense at full strength that is generally, I would argue, pretty good now that they got TJ Watt back.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And to do it all without Jamar Chase is the significant piece here. But Joe Burrow seems to be hitting his stride, I guess would be the way,
We've seen this story before.
yeah, they're right
And
around. We've seen this before. And you know what? Maybe the
we've
Bengals are going to prove, maybe this is over time, but maybe a slight prediction here. The Bengals are going to prove to be the, uh, the Jimmy Butler or the Miami Heat of the
Joe
NFL,
Burrow, Jimmy Butler, same
where
initials, man.
they just coast for the first half of the season and they say, oh, all right, time to start trying. Time to carry my team as far as we can go this year. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that meme again today too, and I was cracking up. It was like Jimmy
Are you
Butler.
still confident in the Ravens overcoming the Bengals here? I know the Bengals are a game back,
It's
but
only a game. No, I'm not, and I've been unconfident in that for a couple of weeks now, especially since Mark Andrews is down. But,
yeah,
um, I got the game edge, so I can't be mad. Can't be mad. But yeah, I Burrow 355 and 4 touchdowns. I know he threw 2 picks today, but
he's
he's
been
really
just so
he's really
steady
good.
though. Like
Yeah.
you can't see the poise and whatnot like out of guys like Zach Wilson and it really any like it's been kind of Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow. There's not Tua you can throw in there, but there's like a high volume of young quarterbacks in the NFL, and it's pretty 50-50 of what's panning out.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow, I would definitely say, has already established himself as he's
Yeah.
going to be a franchise guy
And I'll
long
say this:
term.
I would like to see Burrow get back to the Super Bowl because all I remember from that day is they kept saying uh,
He was close too.
quarterbacks who lose the last like 13 quarterbacks who lost their first Super Bowl appearance never got back. And they would show the graphic, and there was actually like
Wow.
some pretty significant names. And there was a couple like Rex Grossman's on there where it was like a
Yeah, which makes sense. It
yeah, but
does.
then there was like Steve McNair was on there, like some significant guys that this is
Yeah.
like it was going back all the way to like the 80s, I think, and it was like this is like a serious trend here. Um,
Wow.
but yeah,
Mm.
it was. I'd like to see him get back to break that trend. I think he's got the poise to do it. You know, um, but we'll see
He's
with
that
his
guy.
offense. I'm scared to see this offense. Well, am I scared to see this offense when it gets Jamar Chase back? I don't know because Zach Taylor's
Depends if
still
they use him.
calling it. So
Yeah, he might have been just saving him. Who knows?
now this leaves one more game left for us to talk about today, and I feel like we moved pretty fast through this. So
Yeah, that's
that's what
okay.
it is. Vikings Cowboys. I 40-3 was the final score.
Yeah, that's a beat down. I was really thinking one of those was going to come on like the Texans or the Colts. I think I called that last week. Not to see it the team that went into Buffalo and beat them. This was so bizarre. I'm kind of you talk about being confused with this. Like I don't really know what to say. I can't crap on the
I
Vikings. This is the first time they look bad all year.
Yeah, I have to agree. I did say this last week, and this is maybe my only assessment. I said that the Vikings, they're the Vikings, man. History does not, history repeats itself, I guess is what I'm going to say. And this is just like, that's the only thing I can chalk this up to because there's no other logical explanation for a team that goes into
Oh
Buffalo.
no, I know it was. It wasn't a new.
Oh, no, you know what
You
it
gotta
was?
understand these
No,
daylight
no,
savings times.
it was the
It gets
America's
darker.
game of the week.
That
That's what
too.
it
You
was.
had
It's an
the
honorary
double
prime
prime
time
time
game. It's an
effect.
honorary prime
Yeah.
time.
See, so that's what I mean. Like,
That's why they
in terms
lost.
of the culprit, it's just you can't ask Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins
Mister
to
12
do it
of 23
all.
for 105 yards. Get it.
Yeah, this is not gonna get it done. That's
It's more
yeah.
than that, though. I mean, to give up 40 points. This is what I was saying. Is everybody was getting so high on this Vikings defense, and I just don't see it, man. And I also have some thoughts for the Cowboys. I do have an explanation as to why they look so much better this week against a team that routed the Packers, who they lost to last week. The Cowboys are a dome team, man. I'm just gonna go out and say it. They're a dome team. That's
Oh,
the
that the way that team is constructed, yeah, no
they are
question, they're
they
gonna
are a
play better.
dome team. They are on paper they look like a dome team, and mentally they look like a dome team. They looked so bad in the Green Bay cold last week, and
They still had 28 points though. Like that game still was down to the wire. Christian Watson was a surprise emergence. Like for the Cowboys case, and I hate defending the Cowboys. They really just kind of solidified why they're going to be contenders this year. We could see the same usual Cowboys garbage where they look great every year and then the first round they get bounced.
yeah, I
But
will continue to say the usual Cowboys.
yeah, like
I
until
will
we
not
see it,
ever buy it. Look, I am 21 years old.
yeah,
I will not buy into a Cowboys NFC, even just an NFC Championship appearance, until I see it with my own two eyes. And so
it's been like 30 years. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not buying in. At this point, as a betting man, if the odds were who goes farther in the playoffs, the Cowboys or the Packers, I might put money on the Packers because, or no, we'll phrase it like who wins more playoff games, and then I get my money back if they both win zero. Yeah, I take the Packers because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just where I'm at with the Cowboys playoff historically. But yeah, they're really good, man. I did see that what's his face got dinged up today, Micah Parsons, which is not good if that's true.
That is going to be problematic if it is. Yeah.
I feel like I want to spend a little more time on this game. I just don't. I don't know what to say about the Vikings, man. I'm at a loss for words, a loss for explanation, other than it's America's game of the week and Kirk Cousins doesn't show up. It's just
Yeah.
like this looked like so like this Vikings team looked so not like the Mike Zimmer Vikings, where they would look so good one week and so bad the next. And now I'm a little concerned because this is now their second blowout loss to an NFC East team. And it's just
Well, they'll
like
probably see again.
they're seeing one of them
Realistically.
again. There's no way they don't
Right.
see another NFC East team. And they still got the Giants coming up. So um, I am just concerned if this is what this is now two in a row for the Eagles. And say what you want about the Bills, right? That's impressive, right? We all thought it meant, maybe the Bills aren't who we think they are. Maybe that's the answer here. Maybe, or maybe everybody's not who we think they are. We have no idea what we're talking about, which is probably more likely.
That's usually the general assessment over here.
But 40-37 point loss at home. That's the thing too. At home, I'm concerned. I'm concerned.
A game like this is concerning. I really only like just answer. It was just it was a nightmare day for the Vikings in terms of their offense. We can say what they want about the defense. It's a team that I ultimately think if that offense falls, the defense is going to fall. Like their offense usually sustains drives. They usually keep that defense off the field so they're fresh. When they get in this, I mean, you saw Tony Pollard explode. Like when they kind of start running off the field a bit, they're not going to really rebound. And Kirk wasn't doing any favors. That offense in the whole, they just couldn't get anything going. And it just kind of felt like when it started raining, it started pouring. And if
Yeah.
that's the case,
Well,
in the playoffs when it's in prime time, do we really expect Kirk Cousins to step up and stop the bleeding? I don't think so. If they can't do it at home,
the
and a
concern
3:00 window.
That's well said. I think the
concerning.
number one concern about the Vikings right now needs to be what it was going into the year: their defense.
Yeah,
I think their defense is just not.
You want the defense to get better, not start to fall off.
Yeah, and it's really old.
The Buffalo,
and it's a really old defense too. So you got to think about it like,
they're an injury or two away from like not being contenders. Like it's a pulled hammy somebody in the defense or whatever. They're thin, especially in that team. So gonna have to see.
We'll see. Time will tell.
For them.
Time will tell. I do have some bad news for you. You came into the week with a 2-game lead, and I am currently. We both have the same Sunday and Monday night picks. I'm 9-3 so far, and you're 6-6. So I've the lead changes are
got me
crazy.
by a game.
Yeah, the lead changes the last 3 or 4 weeks are. I can't believe you actually picked the Broncos again.
It was the coin. At least I can blame it on that. I wasn't going to pick the Raiders to look like a bozo either. I just wanted fate to decide.
And then I guess I could fill out. I haven't filled out the afternoon games for Fantasy Frenzy. And plus, I still have Patrick Mahomes, Kittle, Hopkins. You have Samuel Kelsey. There's a lot of guys playing in prime time. So I'll have to fill that out.
Recap that.
But we'll recap that on Thursday. Obviously, thanks again for listening, guys. We don't have much more to add other than, we don't know what's going on. I'm at a loss. I would love to sit here and just crap on the Vikings. But they're 8-2, man. Like they're a good team. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's going to the Super Bowl. I have no predictions anymore. I would say
that's as murky as ever.
I have
anybody at this
point. Could it be the Eagles? Probably not. But who's going to beat them? Oh, actually, you know what? I do. You know what? Let's take a couple minutes to talk about this. I actually know exactly. I will make a Super Bowl prediction. Tampa Bay is going to the Super Bowl this year, and
I like Bengals Buccaneers.
I would love to see Bengals Buccaneers.
I actually think that's realistic.
But with all this stuff coming out about Tom Brady being cheated on for the last year, and the only reason he unretired is because he didn't feel any love at home, and he came back to the game so he could feel love. They're going to the Super Bowl, man, and he's not retiring for the next 3 or 4 years.
Oh no!
So
this guy's 50.
I have completely. If you go check the preseason podcast, I was completely like, "What's going on with the Bucs? They're not going to be good this year." And they haven't been, but they're turning the page, and I think it's time that we turn the page with them because the NFC is dangerous. wide open, and I see no team that they can't beat. So the Bengals go back, doubt. I'd be really impressed, but I wouldn't be shocked. So
and they just got to keep scoring. That's what they've been doing these past couple of weeks is just outscoring teams. That's how they got to the Super Bowl, We'll see.
Those are my closing thoughts. The Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to hate it. I'm going to hate every second of it. But
we might love it though.
It's it's hard not to root for the guy at this point. It's hard not to root for the guy at this point. How do you not root for the guy after what's going on? What's coming out? So
that's brutal.
Yeah, it's wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And you know what? He's pretty close to it. So as always, guys, be sure to check us out on YouTube. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, all the good stuff. We'll be back on Wednesday this week for NBA Wednesday. I'll be traveling on Tuesday. So we'll be having our first guest appearance on Wednesday. Talk some basketball and, really have a good time crapping on the Lakers because that's what I like to do. But
there's some other teams that are going to get it.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna
there
say.
that is true. But
Some other teams on the radar.
we're gonna take off. We got the Sunday night game kicking off in about 10 minutes. So any closing thoughts
Oh
for
yeah.
you?
No, I was looking forward to Wednesday. Fresh voice for you guys to hear. Definitely should spark some debate. Um, I'll try and come up with a little fun segment, a little mini game. Who we play for will be entertaining, but
As always.
maybe we can get some historic kind of some all-time player debates, if you will. Maybe it's a special edition, a better or worse for the holiday.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, we'll be looking forward to it. I don't know if as well we'll keep you guys updated on Wednesday, but might have to change the Thanksgiving record time as well. Obviously, we usually come out with an
Yes.
episode on Thursday. That might be tough to do given the holiday. But no, regardless, I mean, Friday is usually would be a solid upload time.
Yes.
Nonetheless, we'll figure it out. You'll keep hearing us in your ears. Thank you all for listening. And yeah, if I'll pan it back to you unless you have a closing remark. We can get on out of here, pack it up, and
Yeah, I don't got
enjoy
much to
some more
say.
football.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on Wednesday. So have a good one.
Peace.